So I think we are rolling. Hey everybody, Crazy H back. We are going to talk some more about science and the Bible. This is like one of my all-time favorite things to talk about, other than Jesus and him paying for my salvation. Now, the ancient world had its own set of rules, okay? And as we've gotten more modern, our science has gotten a lot better. Our technology's got a lot more cooler. iPads, yes, okay. Now, what hasn't changed is people. Okay. However, we're going to talk about science in the Bible, and one of the things we're going to talk about is what the ancient world perceived as the ocean floor. Okay, they thought the ocean floor was flat as a pancake, not to be confused with head east, flat as a pancake. Okay. I'm being dated there. Nevertheless, they thought it was flat. However, the Bible says, as late as, let me look at the date here, somewhere around 793 to 758 BC, in a book called Jonah. Jonah is like a fishing manual, okay? Don't go fishing like Jonah did, okay? Nevertheless, Jonah says he went down to the roots of the mountains, okay? What mountains? If you know the story, Joseph, sorry about that. Jonah got swallowed by a fish, not a whale. The Bible is very specific on terminology here. Says fish. Now, can a fish swallow a human? I would say yes. Now, I live in the Midwest, right around St. Louis area, and years ago, there are stories of the people who were building the lock and dams in the Mississippi. And there's stories of divers coming up swearing they would not go back down there because they saw fish in there big enough to eat them. Okay? True. I mean, there are numerous stories of this. So it could be ancient fables of people. Okay? I don't think so. You've seen some big fish in the ocean. There can be some really big catfish, all right? So wouldn't that be good eating? No, I wouldn't know. I don't like fish. If I wanted to eat fish, I'd have been born a shark because, I don't do fish. Anyhow, 793 to 758 is when Jonah was written. And it states that he went down to the roots of the mountains. Now, what mountains? He went down into the Mediterranean Ocean. And at some points, I'm looking at my data here, some points the Mediterranean is as deep as 17,280 feet at the Ionian Sea. The Ionian Sea is that area of the Mediterranean right between the boot of, yes, Italy and Greece. So right in that area, it's called the Ionian Sea. It can get down to 17,280 feet deep. So let me ask you something. If there are mountains in the Bible, in the Mediterranean, wouldn't that mean there's also valleys? Because you have mountains, you have valleys, you have mountains, you have valleys. In fact, the evidence is of the Mediterranean has average depth of 4,900 feet. Satellite imaging maps shows thousands of mountains, mountain range. That's just in the Mediterranean. Not talking about the Pacific or the Atlantic, just the Mediterranean. And remember, that's where the whole focus of the Bible is over in that Middle Eastern area, okay? Now, not only the mountains, but we also want to talk about the valleys of the seas that were exposed at the rebuke of the Lord. That's in 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel was actually 2nd and 1 Samuel, 1st and 2nd Samuel. I don't want to go backwards because I'm already backwards, but never mind. We see that's in the Jewish Bible, the Tanakh. Tanakh, that's such a cool word, okay? And those ancient languages are so cool. That's where they get Vulcan and Klingon from. Tanakh, okay? So the Tanakh, in the Tanakh, we didn't have 1st and 2nd Samuel. We didn't have 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles like we have in our Bible. Those were all one book, okay? And we have separated them to make it easier for us to read. But somewhere between like 931 BC and 1000 BC, 2 Samuel was written. And it states, the valleys of the seas were exposed to the rebuke of the Lord. Now put into it whatever you want to say. However, how did these people, no submarines at those times. No submarines. Say that with me. No submarines, okay? Submarine sandwiches, maybe, but sandwiches weren't created till the Earl of Sandwich a few 100,000 years later, whatever. Anyhow, no submarines, but yet they knew all these things. How did they know the mountains and valleys in the ocean floor when the world said it was flat, but yet the Bible said there's mountains and valleys? How did they know that, the writers of the Bible, unless they really were told and instructed what to write by someone who is outside of space and time. Think about that. How was it there unless somebody knew it? It wasn't an accident. And speaking of a flat ocean floor, we're going to talk next time about a round earth as opposed to a flat earth. The evidence that's in the Bible there is like really cool. So I'm going to go back to my music here and you guys just... DC talk, yes. All right. Hey, later, guys.